Hello, and welcome to Laudio's four-part webcast series, Self-Care for Healthcare. My name is Tom Hills, and I'm a senior executive with Laudio, and I'm happy to again have LeAnn Thieman with me today. LeAnn is a nationally acclaimed professional speaker, author, and nurse who was accidentally caught up in the Vietnam orphan airlift in 1975. After her Operation Baby Lift story was featured in Chicken Soup for the Mother's Soul, LeAnn became one of Chicken Soup's most prolific writers. Her devotion to more than 30 years of nursing made her the ideal co-author for the New York Times bestseller Chicken Soup for the Nurse's Soul. Her latest book, Self-Care for Healthcare, Your Guide to Physical, Mental, and Spiritual Health, provides the backdrop and content for this webcast series. And again, welcome, LeAnn. We're so glad to have you with our final part in the series.
Thank you. It's been my privilege and truly my joy. Thank you.
During our prior three sessions, we discussed the importance of establishing a formal self-care program and the importance of focusing on body, mind, and spirit each day. Today, we'll wrap up our session with tips about the way to make time for self-care and to set boundaries that enable you to focus on you. Now, LeAnn, we're all increasingly busy. So many new challenges are before us, whether it's spending more time directing and educating our children, training to handle a novel virus, establishing new roles for ourselves, our spouses, our parents, and more. How can we make time for yet another new discipline?
I think that's discipline is the key word there. And as we said at the beginning, we're often so busy caring for everybody else, we don't take the time to care for ourselves. And whenever we talk about any obstacles in the way of self-care, time is the one that people tell me consistently from all over the world. And I truly understand that. I believe that we have to, another one of my principles is managing our time wisely, but that coincides with living our priorities. I often ask people in all of my presentations, what's the number one priority in your life? And they often say family, but what I also remind them is a priority is not what you say it is. A priority is how we spend our time, isn't it? I mean, we can't give lip service to one thing and say that's the priority if we spend our time doing something else, because clearly how we spend our time is what we have made the priority, is it not? So I encourage people just to look at that. One of the exercises we do, and I know this takes a little time, but to draw a circle and divide it into quadrants until it's finally in 24 different segments of the circle. And then to fill it in, how you're spending your time. And hopefully you can fill in about a third of it, 8 hours for sleep, because we talked about that. But then the number of hours you typically in a work day, the number of hours you spend with family, eating, online, on Facebook, on however you spend your time. And doing that exercise has been just revolutionary for some people. They had no idea how they were spending their time. And I often say that time is the only thing everybody in the whole world has the same amount of. And I think we have a lot more power to choose how we spend our time. And I know I challenge people sometimes when I say that, our priorities, not what you say, it's what you do. But we have to remember we are always juggling balls of responsibility. We have to figure out which of these are rubber and which are glass. Because the glass balls is our own health often and the people that we love. And when you think about it, the rubber balls is usually all of our possessions and even our jobs. If we drop those, they could bounce back or be replaced. But the glass ones, if they're broken, they can be irretrievably broken. So we can't drop them. And I think during some of this quiet time, and certainly not every nurse has had quiet time during the COVID-19, but a lot of the nation has. And I think even the busy nurses have taken time to reflect on what's the most important thing in my life. What do I want to step right back on that treadmill at 100 miles an hour again? Or do I want to spend my time a little bit differently? I just wrote an article about what do you want to keep from this and what do you want to let go of? Were those family meals and the board games and the extra connections with our loved ones, is that something we want to keep? And if you're running a race and trying to keep up and working so hard is that the pace we want to keep. It's up to us to make those decisions, I think, about how we spend our time and how we live our priorities.
Now, how can we make this a habit? Now, you talked about documenting it, maybe keeping track of how we've been spending our time. But how do we take this and continue to live it day after day after day?
Making it a priority, and most of all, giving ourselves permission. We are such benevolent people, so altruistic that we just give and give and give. And I can't tell you how many nurses and healthcare givers have told me that they feel like their own self-care is a little selfish. And it's not, it's self-sustaining. And we can be better nurses and caregivers and moms and dads and grandmas and partners if we are happy and healthy. And so making it a priority in our lives, giving ourselves permission, and looking at the schedule. When people tell me what their priorities are, I say, good, show me your daily schedule. And really logging it. And I know that takes a little time, but again, making that circle and filling it in to see how you're spending your time, and then make another one of how you want to spend your time. And make that a priority and engage the people that you love and work with in it to say, I can take better care of you if I take better care of me. And LeAnn Thieman and SelfCare for HealthCare have just been nagging me mercilessly about this, so I'm going to try it, and I need your support, and maybe let's do it together. And just calling it out and claiming it. It's one of my favorite words now, is to just claim what we need.
Any final message in wrapping up that you'd like to leave us with today, LeAnn?
I believe nursing and working in healthcare is a calling. It called me 40 years ago, and I think it's a calling to minister to people in their toughest times. And yet I know there are those days that we feel like we are working so hard and we can't get it all done, and we can't take all the pain away, and we can't make everybody happy. Some days we can't make anybody happy. And on those days we sometimes feel like, is my little ordinary part really worth this? And I just want to remind them, absolutely yes it is. Everything we do matters in ways that we'll probably never even know about, the impact we've had on people and families' lives. And there was a sign above the burn unit in Vietnam when I was there during Operation Baby Lift, only for those 10 adventuresome days. But we had some kids that were from a burn unit where an American plastic surgeon had set up a clinic to help the children burned by the war. And above the doorway he had written, it's better to light a single candle than to curse the darkness. And that's what nurses do every day. They light their single candles, and in doing so, they inspire everybody to inspire them to light their own candles, and they set not just their hospitals, but they truly set the world aglow with their goodness and their caring. And I just want to remind them that taking really good care of themselves is going to make them even better to light even more candles and to give even more wonderful benevolent service as they do every day.
Such great words of wisdom, LeAnn. Thank you so much. And really appreciate being part of the Laudio's community and sharing these important words with our audience.
It's my privilege. Thank you very much for all that you do, and thank the nurses for everything they do day after day.
Absolutely. Take care.
Thank you.